This is Bad Movies We Love, part of the Shice Podcast Network.
If you're listening to this, you are the resistance.
Hello, Bad Movie lovers, and welcome back to a new episode of Bad Movies We Love. Per the usual, I am your host, Nick Scheist.
The master of this stupid stuff!
As SupeTember continues, we are ratcheting up the intensity. Now, if you're anything like me, and if you're listening to this, then you probably are, you love your trash with treasure buried inside, so you're in the right place. So before we get to the episode, just do me a solid. If you like what you hear, if you like the show, if you listen to the show and you want to help support the show, make sure that you follow, subscribe, whatever you got to do on your podcast platform so that you don't miss an episode, because we have a long list of movies to get through. You can also help out a lot by leaving a rating and a review on your podcast platform of choice, especially if you've ever come across one of the movies that we're covering here on the show and said, wait a second, this movie rules, because those reviews help more weirdos like us find the show. And if you really, really want to support the show, you can join the Resistance members only at badmovieswelove.captivate.fm/support. For a measly $5 a month, you'll get access to the two current bonus series, Baimon Sci-Fi Con and Bad Movie Futures. And as an added members-only perk, you'll be automatically entered to win in every giveaway. You'll get a welcome sticker pack, and you'll get an invite to the members-only Discord server where you can just talk with me about bad movies, good movies, honestly, whatever you want. It's a pretty good return on your investment for just $5, and that money helps go towards things like buying music for the show, and I buy that music from real artists selling their music in the marketplace, so you're not just helping me as an independent creator, you're helping them as well. Thank you for listening. We got a great episode ahead of us. I was joined by my friend Donnie, who you might remember from our episode on Critters, or the very first episode of the show ever on Roadhouse. He's back to deal with some hellfire and brimstone as we take on Malbolgia and his very annoying clown sidekick. That's right, we're talking Mark A.Z. Dippé's Spawn from 1997. He's still the coolest looking and interesting superhero. He deserves a better movie.
This was one of 2 or 3 comic books that I had read my whole life.
Even though I'm a killer for hire, like, I don't associate with the devil.
They wanted a movie like Tim Burton's Batman and like The Crow.
You know, maybe strip out the machine guns.
It's like, hey, boys have a penis, girls have a vagina, kid.
Yeah, we'll say that it lacks tonal congruity.
I can't defend it. It doesn't look good at all.
Super Ebola virus. It's like, that might not be that important right now.
How do I put this to you? You're pushing up daisies, you're in permanent nap time, you're fertilizer. Hey, is any of this sinking in? You're dead. Dead. I guess 5 years feeding earthworms has eaten what little brain there was in there.
What are you?
But allow me to kickstart your memory. Hang on. These flashbacks can be killers.
Donnie, welcome back to the show, man. It hasn't been that long this time.
Oh, it hasn't. Thanks for inviting me again, man. It's glad to be here as always. Love coming back, talking about these amazing films. What was the last one we
Critters.
did? Critters. That was a ton of fun.
Yeah. Well, at your request, I'm going to play you in with a little silver chair.
Oh.
I get how many 10 seconds before I get sued?
Right. Yeah. Right.
Count them up. All right.
Yeah. 15-year-old me is going nuts.
Let's stop that before the lawsuit comes in.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, this movie's got a crazy soundtrack. But since you're the guest of honor, I'll let you introduce the movie that we're talking about today.
Yeah. Today we're talking about the comic book movie of the 90s, 1997 Spawn, starring Michael Jai White, John Leguizamo, two major stars of the film. There are other great stars we'll talk about, but wow, what a movie, man. Like, love it or hate it, it's a comic book film that I grew up on. I was a teenager when it came out. I guess there's a lot to talk about it. We'll get into it, about the reasons why it's actually a film that's on this show.
Yeah, we'll get to that very soon. This movie's sort of like famous, but also I think it's probably more like infamous than it is famous. Like people definitely know it. People definitely have seen it. Most of the time when I mention a movie that I'm covering and I put it out on like Instagram and Twitter, like nobody says anything. But in this case, quite a few people had something to say about Spawn.
Really?
A lot of it was not good, but the fact that many people like decided to say something actually was refreshing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll get to that in a little bit. But as you mentioned, this movie, of course, stars Michael Jai White and John Leguizamo. Also, Martin Sheen is probably the other like huge name that is attached to this. Directed by Mark A.Z. Dippé. I don't know. It's 2 P's and an E with a accent mark.
It's dirt. Don't butter it up.
The screenplay is by Alan
Spoiler
B.
alert, I love
McElroy. The story is also by Dippé and McElroy, based on, of course, the comic book by Todd McFarlane. And this movie comes out in 1997, 5 years after the comic debuts, and the same month or the same year that the animated series on HBO comes out, which I watched probably more than I think I did when it was originally on HBO, but it was also around like the first days of me having HBO. But you know, I remember the Spawn comic itself being such a big deal when it came out. It came out like in the heyday of comic books, where this was one of those books that was mass printed. And I remember the rush to like collect Spawn comics as if they were going to have this value. And really, unless you have a signed issue that's in pristine condition, like there's so many of them that they don't really retain that kind of value. But were you somebody that went out and got the comic book, or were you introduced to the character through the show and through the movie?
Okay, so for me, I don't want to let you down. I was not into comic books as a kid at all. I would see them and occasionally, because, you know, kids you buy your comic books with your allowance, right? Especially that this came out 5 years before the movies. I was like 9, 10, something around that age. I spent all my allowance on baseball cards and renting video games from Blockbuster, the video store. So that was where all my allowance went to. But I had 2 older stepbrothers, and one of them was huge, like crazy into comic books. They came to stay with us. They were my stepdad's sons. So they came to stay with us like every other weekend. And the one that was really into comics would he'd bring a huge chest of comic books with him for the weekend. And they were filled with different comics every time. So he was crazy into it. And so every now and then I'd see him looking at one that I would kind of, oh, that's interesting. And they were usually the darker ones. So I wasn't interested in the Spider-Man comics or the Superman, but occasionally Batman ones I'd look at, or Ghost Rider. But then, he was really huge into Spawn when it first came out. I remember he was telling me all about it. We were both big Stephen King fans. That was kind of where we connected. But he introduced me to the Spawn comic, and I didn't read every issue. Like, I didn't get it every month that it came out or what have you. But if I saw one that I didn't have, I was in a store, I'd pick it up and look at it. So this was one of 2 or 3 comic books that I had read my whole life. The other one was probably, I read a bit of Ghost Rider and probably X-Men, probably the only other 2. But yeah, I got, Spawn was the right amount of cool macho, dark, macho machismo stuff. It was dark, so it was part horror. So it tickled that horror funny bone that I had at that age. But so yeah, I knew about Spawn, and the only comic book movie that I really cared for growing up was Tim Burton's Batman. I watched that over and over and over. I love that movie. Still do. Still my favorite Batman. So when this was coming out when I was 15, I was super excited. I was so looking forward to this movie. It was coming out at the end of the summer, right before school started, like my sophomore year of high school. So it was like that last summer where I didn't have a car. My sister had to drive me around everywhere. So I remember she had to drop me off to go see this movie at the theater. It was like first week of August. I think it was like August 1st or something. And so yeah, this was one of the first comic book movies after Batman that I was super excited to see and couldn't wait for. And I just remember that whole summer waiting on what you just heard, that CD. I was crazy looking forward to the CD. I was disappointed by it. We can get into that later, but all these movies had great soundtrack albums coming out that time, the late '90s in particular. And I was super excited to see this movie. And spoiler alert, I loved it. I'm sorry. Even I loved all its faults. I still do, but which we'll get into. But
I was trying to recall whether or not I had seen this in theaters, because I was definitely like at the age where something like this would not have been not allowed. And then I know that a ton of my memory of watching it came from rewatching it, because my sister's husband at the time worked for New Line. So I got like a copy of it where I could watch it at home. And then like as soon as it made its cable rounds, it was like, oh, I'm watching it whenever it's on. I really just enjoyed the identity of the movie. Mostly probably Leguizamo's performance is what makes it as entertaining as it is. But at this time, I probably saw it in theaters, but I can't like 100% say yes. But I was watching the animated series. I think that original run of the comics I had I know I have like 1 through probably 13. And then it's the first issue with the fight between him and Violator, where I don't have the second half of it. So I have like 1 through 13, and then I have like 15, and then kind of like staggered through the late 20s of the run. So I was always disappointed because I missed the comic where he fights Violator in full. So that was always a huge bummer. And I even had a couple of Spawn figurines that were like action figures, but they were sort of like taller. I would say they're probably like 6 to 7 inches, where like a sort of standard action figure is like 5 inches. So they were like big, imposing figures in comparison to like other toys that I had when I was a kid. And
was that before McFarlane's line of his own figures?
I think it was part of that, because it was based on the comics. And like one of the toys that I had was the medieval Spawn, and so like that wasn't featured in the film, but like his design and everything was really cool. I mean, Spawn is on issue like 500-600 right now.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a run of the book recently, King Spawn, that came out that was interesting as he like took over Hell. And then I got a couple of issues of, I think, Gunslinger Spawn. And then the one that I am currently on is Rat City, which is like Spawn 2029, I guess, would be sort of like the equivalent of what Marvel did with their universe and Spider-Man 2099. So, yeah, it's like cybernetic Spawn in like a future cyberpunk world. And so I was like, okay, that kind of like speaks my language. But they're getting kind of like they're still going with all those books. So Spawn has like had some good staying power as a comic. And before, like, I knew this movie was considered bad, right? But I think before committing to doing this show, like, I wasn't sure how bad And so I want to go to the tail of the tape now because I think we should just like get it out of the way.
Just get it out of it.
Yeah,
Very good call.
So it has an IMDb score of 5.2, which, okay, whatever. Like I can accept that. It's middling, but fair. Metascore of 34. Letterbox 2.2, which, I mean, solid. There's fans. Rotten Tomatoes critic score 17%. Rotten Tomato audience score of 37%. And then it has a Google users review of 76% positive.
Wow.
Well, I think it's just thumbs up or thumbs down. So 76% of Google users that took the time to review it gave it a thumbs up. So that gives us a Bad Movies We Love total score of 43.3 out of 100. But I feel like that Google score is doing a lot of heavy lifting.
You're right. Did you take a look? Like, what would it be if not the Google wasn't in there?
If I removed the 76 for the board, yeah, we'd be talking about probably like mid 30s at best.
Do you know what the worst film, the worst score that you've had on this show was?
0.
Holy God.
Yeah. Well, it's the lowest. There's a couple movies where I've done zeros. One of them was, what was it? Biodome, which I think I had a 9 out of 100 overall because all of the scores were so low. Yeah. Really, really bad. I would have to go back and look, but there was like 2 or 3 where there was like prominent zeros. And I was like, oh, wow, like this is really bad. So like at least Spawn is in the category of like, it's bad, but it is also enjoyable, and sort of movies in the right below 50 range usually are very fun to talk about. And this is a movie that I think is very fun to talk about.
I agree. So have you seen it? I'm assuming you've seen it multiple times through the years. Did you rewatch it for this?
I did. I watched it like a couple hours ago. Cool. So I wanted to make sure that I was very fresh for it because it had been a while since I had seen it, because like ever since I kind of like got away from the nature of having cable as an option, the odds that I'm going to just like stumble across it had decreased to 0. So like I had to be very intentional about putting it on and watching it. And I haven't done it. So it's probably been at least like 10 years since I've seen it. Yeah. So it was nice to go back and revisit it, and sort of, as I was seeing some of the comments come in from people on some of the social posts, like, and I'm watching it and like digesting it, I'm like, yeah, you're definitely not wrong on what you're saying. But I feel like there's something about the movie, and I'm not quite sure that I can put my finger on it just yet, but there's something about it. Like, it's very committed to the idea of wanting to do this like gothic sort of heaven and hell based story, but also sort of existing at a time in filmmaking where I think it's fair to say that most people probably didn't even want that. And so how do you actually accomplish bringing the Spawn story that is so centered on its gothic identity and then bringing that into this world? And you end up with Spawn riding a motorcycle and shooting guns, and it's like, it's so different than like the Spawn that you would want out of a movie, that it like I feel like I can't help but like it for those reasons. Like it had to operate within the parameters of what it was allowed to do. And at the time, like the CGI wasn't going to be ever good enough to really do all of the things that you would want to do for a story like this. And then if you want to have any kind of action and any kind of like big moments, then your only real alternative at the time was to like, we're getting some guns. We're gonna blow something up. So at least like, hey, I like explosions. I can't be mad at it.
Oh, dude, I think they wanted a movie like Tim Burton's Batman and like The Crow. They wanted a movie like that, but they didn't want the same movie. They wanted something different from that, but the same vein. And of course, CGI starting to try to explode and to expand at this time. And they're, I think originally the movie was only costing like 20 million. And then there's okay, we really like the things you've done without the CGI, but here's a lot more money to go do the CGI, which was crazy expensive back then. And it was kind of like, if they don't go wild with the CGI, people will just say, well, it's a knockoff of Batman, it's a knockoff of The Crow, and so you kind of they took a swing with the CGI, and I'll say it now, I can't defend it. Like it doesn't look good at all. I mean, but once you get past that, like, okay, it's the 90s. In truth, this movie should have been a warning to filmmakers all the way through to today that don't go so heavy on the CGI, because the practical parts of the film were amazing to me.
Yeah.
The Spawn costume, the burnt skin of Michael Jai White, the clown Violator costume, like the movement, the Leguizamo, man, his physical in this movie is amazing, and the small, tiny portions of practical with the Violator when he turns into the Violator look amazing. So it's a give and take movie. Yeah, yes, like, all the people that say how bad it is, every film that you and I have done on here, I can say, man, people are wrong. This movie's not bad. I can't really
until now.
Until it is, and it's not the script. The script's fine. The dialogue, it feels like a comic book movie.
It does.
As someone who didn't read a lot of comics, it felt like the dialogue is quick. It's one-liners. It's quick camera shots, and the guys just say their lines, get out of the way. There's macho stuff in the beginning. It moves so fast. It's only an hour and 30 something minutes. This is what I thought a comic book movie should be. It's just, it has bad CGI.
No,
that's all to me. Like, the movie just jumps right in. He's on a mission, and I don't remember what it was, but there was a plane landing, and he was supposed to assassinate some guy, and it's shooting rockets out of a tower. It's amazing. It just jumps right in, and I had forgotten that scene was the first scene in the movie when I rewatched, and I was like, yes, strap in, let's go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Me too. I was like, oh wow, we're starting with a lot of just like exposition right away, and then a bazooka. Like, does he even need to be on this mission if if all of them are there and you can just like shoot a rocket? I guess, it's okay.
One of the henchmen coming off the airplane pulls out his gun.
Yeah,
like there's rockets coming right at you. What's that gonna do? Like, what is happening here?
Yeah, nobody ran. It's like, I think you guys can recognize that those are missiles. Like, if you guys are really terrorists the way that you're like being portrayed, then I think like you could tell that it's a rocket flying at you, and you probably don't just want to stand there and take it on the chin, because you might be tough, but you're not that tough. But yeah, in terms of the CGI, I think it's a situation where I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, because I think there are some clear moments where it's like you can see that there's extra money, and it's like, okay, now how do we like use this? And those are the moments where it's like, okay, well, we're gonna like put something together, and that's where it's like, okay, this is not working. However, a lot of the commitment to Violator's CGI, like during the transformations and sort of like when he's first fighting with Spawn, you get like there is a puppet in there a couple times, so they mix in the CGI with like the actual practical, and I feel like they spent a lot of time, I think it was like 8 months, designing the actual like molds, designing the CGI transformations and all that to make it work. So they spent plenty of time like working on that, knowing at that point in the process that was probably going to be where they like, shot their CGI wad, so to speak. So it's like, this is what we're working towards. And so like those moments I think are pretty solid, but it's when we go to Malbolgia, when we go see the weirdest like looking devil, and
his mouth open the whole time.
Yeah. The hellscape, I think, is really where like the majority of the CGI weakness is persistent. Like when Spawn's transforming and the cape and stuff, it's like, I think the capabilities were just not quite there yet, because we see now that the way that like Iron Man's suit is represented, whether they do nanotech or whatever, there's so many different variations of like sort of the suit assembling while on the person. And I think that works pretty well. Like Venom as well also has sort of like a functional living suit entity that works now that the CGI is better. So given the circumstances, mixing the quick transition of those CGI shots into practical makes sense for a movie that's happening at that time. And then I know that they had originally designed like the Hell World as a much different visual experience. And it was like it just wasn't working on camera, which is where some of the decision to spend the money on that came in. Because I think they were working in like just a black room, which kind of like as an abyss makes sense. But it's like the hell that we got was like, is it like Utah on fire, or is it like the Grand Canyon that's burning or something?
That's good, yeah.
It's such a weird look for hell. It's like it's way too bright in here. Everything's moving, so like my eyes hurt. Like it is very distracting. I guess hell just is going to give me motion sickness for all eternity while also burning me. And I think most people probably over remember the worst moments of the CGI and under remember the best moments of the CGI, because when it's good, it's pretty good.
The last part
not
of
always good.
Mask coming on, like at the party, that last part, I do see that gif a bit on social media a lot. It's just that ending part where it's the rest of his mask comes over his face at that big ball party or whatever. That looked really good. It still does to me as the mask closes in around his face. I think that's some good part of CGI.
It is. That's the one that I sent to you when in the chat. But
that scene right there.
I'll be curious if when the 4K hits your possession and hits your Blu-ray player, like how does that CGI look in 4K? Because I remember like there's been some movies where the CGI looked good when I saw it in theaters, and then by the time I was watching it on like FX or something, I was like, ooh, wait, was it always that bad? Am I crazy? I was like, it looks really bad.
I showed you I got the email today that it is on the way. So from Arrow. So we'll see.
He's going to look a lot better when he's just like Mr. Crispy, though, because like you're going to see all like the glistening of his makeup design. Yeah, he looks great. And I know that he himself was not a fan of the movie. I think he's on record saying like, you've never seen me say anything positive about Spawn. But he was really drawn to the character for sort of like the tragic nature of who Al Simmons is. And he, endured a lot of makeup effects day in, day out in order to be able to play that role. Like they basically like shut his nose off in order to do that. So couldn't breathe through his nose. And for a guy who is kind of like having his big break in a movie, also to be like, we're not going to show your face for the vast majority of it. I think it kind of affected his stardom, because if you see his face the whole movie, it's a much different experience than like seeing the burnt version of him. And he's gone on to have like a solid career, but I still feel like we sort of failed him and the industry failed us as fans of the action genre by not having him have a bigger career. Because right now, with all of the stuff that's going on with Blade being in like horrible disarray, they can't get that movie done. I'm like, give somebody like $10 million, go get Michael Jai White, and you can make Blade right now, and action film fans would love it because he's still in good shape. He can still fight. He still trains regularly. And like, go get Scott Adkins and a couple other guys that are just like action all-stars and put together like a vampire movie. I think the proof of concept is there. So I was happy to go back and celebrate sort of my enjoyment of him as a performer. And he does, even while as Spawn, throws a spinning roundhouse kick to Wynn's face. So I'm like, he still got his martial arts moment in there, which I did actually really appreciate. And there was a night not that long ago, I was going into a Target or something because I was like, we ran out of soap. I just need soap. I go in, I come out, Michael Jai White and his wife are walking, and I'm like, what the? He's wearing his Venom gear, so like he either just came from training or was like on his way there, but it's kind of late, and I'm just like, why is he in my neighborhood? This is a shitty neighborhood. Like, what is he going to this Target for? So I was kind of like, I don't get like starstruck that often, but I was so surprised to like see him there. I couldn't like even say anything, but otherwise I would have been like, I love Spawn, and be like, oh well, that makes one of us.
That's awesome, man. I completely agree with you. I was ready for him to like explode. Not only after this, but his turn is he played Mike Tyson in the Mike Tyson TV movie. That I was a huge Mike Tyson fan growing up, and I loved him in that movie. I haven't seen it since it came out, so I can't tell you if, but I don't know if I should. It's just one of those movies. But I was ready for him to blow up, man. I don't know what if he just wasn't getting the roles. If it could be an agent thing. His agent didn't get him the good role. I don't know, but I thought for certain he was going to be like the next big action star, the next Wesley Snipes, Jean-Claude Van Damme, or something, because he just has this look and his body language and stature that I thought he could do anything within that genre. So I'm right there with you. And then again in 2009 when Black Dynamite came out, I thought it was going to happen again, that he was going to blow, because he was great. That movie's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
He's awesome in that movie. And then also his small role in The Dark Knight. He was in a very small scene, but he steals the show. He's great in that small scene. So you got me, man. I don't know what happened with that. Like, I'm glad he's still working, and I haven't seen many of his movies since Black Dynamite, but I don't know. I hope, I mean, he still got it in him. I hope he gets something sometime soon. But yeah, dude, Michael Jai White, Blade, or why they haven't cast him in these Mortal Kombat movies coming out? Like, I don't know. Like,
surprising. So, funny story. He turned down the role of Jax in, I think it was Mortal Kombat Annihilation. So the sequel to the original Mortal Kombat. He turned that down to do this movie. But in terms of like his career, I was going to save this for like bonus trivia later, but so listen to the pecking order here before it gets to him. So before him, originally considered for the role, Wesley Snipes, Cuba Gooding Jr., Snoop Dogg, Tony Todd, Alan Payne, Denzel Washington, Sam Jackson, Ving Rhames, Tupac Shakur, LL Cool J, Hakeem Alston, and Will Smith. So he was like 15th in line to play Spawn, just based on like what the producers wanted out of the role. And so the fact that he even got this, I think, says a lot about what he saw in the character itself versus like, we're going to go to a star to sort of sell a product that we want to sell.
Yeah.
This kind of more was about just getting a person that believes in the script to do it, because there was a lot of names attached to this. Like Ed Norton was supposed to play Terry. Tim Burton was originally not, I don't think he ever signed on, but they were targeting him to direct, which makes a lot of sense because of the gothic imagery and everything. And the director of Dark City, Alex Proyas, was originally slated to make this movie and then went on to do Dark City instead. So, like, I just see, like, in my head, I'm like, wow, there is a much better version of Spawn available. And from what I understand, there is a rated R version of Spawn that is part of it'll probably be part of the 4K release from Arrow, but I don't think I've seen that. I
watched the hour and 36-minute version. I don't know which one. I've read, because I read conflicting things about which one is which. There's and a lot of people said that you can't tell the difference in them, really. Like, and some people said, the R-rated version, which they said was released on VHS and DVD, but they said the rated R version is shorter. I'm like, well, if that isn't, I don't know which one I watched. I assume that it really doesn't make that big a difference. Is there any blood in this movie? There's green goo.
Yeah, there's a lot of, was it necro goo, something like that?
Flesh.
Yeah. I don't know if there is blood. That's a good question.
Yeah, there's a bullet hole, like in Priest, when which is my favorite line in the film, but there's so many great lines in this movie. That one's my favorite, and it's not the line itself, it's the delivery of the line. We can get into that later, but so I think it has like a piece of red makeup on her head or something where she got shot, maybe. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. So I'll just, hopefully the collector's thing that I got will shed some light on which is which, and I'll be able to see everything. Maybe some deleted scenes or something.
Yeah. Answer that question once and for all. But let me take a moment here and I will set the table for the audience. I know we're 30 minutes in, so people are like, I think you've already done that at this point, but we got to do it officially. So Columbia Pictures first showed interest in a Spawn movie back in 92, but Todd McFarlane walked away when they didn't give him enough creative control. So he eventually sells the rights to New Line for $1 in exchange for full creative input and merchandising rights. So I think he knew what he wanted to do. And New Line, they knew what they wanted. They wanted a dark but PG-13 safe adaptation of the story. And so they brought in a team of former Industrial Light and Magic artists, which included the director, Dippé? And we'll go with that. Clint Goldman, I think he was the producer, and Steve Williams to do the effects for the project. And so McElroy had worked on the Spawn comics and the animated series, so he writes the script. And then Michael Jai White signs on as Al Simmons, saying it's the most tragic character he's ever played. And, you know, he was in 4 hours in the chair for makeup daily. His bodysuit is glued on, basically, and he can barely breathe, but he is a martial artist and he very much is like in a Zen space doing that. So he's able to get through it. The movie gets greenlit at 20 million, but the budget balloons to 40 to 45 range as the visual shots increased from originally 77 VFX shots to 400. So that's where that money went. And 22 different effects companies across the country contributed, with Industrial Light and Magic handling the most expensive work, which is about $8.5 million worth of that. And then more than half of those shots that made it into the movie were finished 2 weeks before the movie premieres. So they were down to the wire with these effects. I think just they bit off more than they could chew at one point, but they're like, we don't have a choice but to finish. And it kind of looks like that. But the most challenging of the effects were the Violator Demon and Spawn's cape, because just it wasn't quite there yet. So ILM digitally scans, animates, and integrated it into the live footage. But that final shot was delivered days before the film's release. So like down to the very, very last moment before this is getting done. And the movie, it makes some big changes from the comics, as Simmons' best friend Terry, who is originally black in the comic, gets played by D.B. Sweeney after the studio pushed to avoid having too many black leads. Insane. And instead of being killed by Chapel, a character that was owned by Rob Liefeld, who is the artist who, I think he created Deadpool as well, but that original character, Simmons' killer was rewritten as Jessica Priest, the new character that was made for the movie. And the comics later retconned this change to match the movie. But the first cut of Spawn earned an R rating, so producers toned down the violence to make it PG-13, and it hits theaters August 1st of 1997, earning $19.7 million in its opening weekend, which was second only to Air Force One.
Oh, wow. Another fun movie. Fun weekend at the movies.
Right. And it ultimately grossed $87.9 million worldwide against its $45 million-ish budget. So it makes its money back. It basically doubles its investment and is a success, but there were sequels planned that never happened. All of the success that this movie, technically didn't translate to further success down the line. And we already mentioned that fans of the film that got the home video version were able to see the the R-rated director's cut, which does include some behind the scenes featurettes and an interview with McFarlane. So there may be more meat on the bone there when you actually get to it.
Awesome. That's cool. Yeah. So I think it's a good little cast. They got to do it. We already talked about Michael Jai White, and his screen presence is great, even with his eyes, with the contacts and the burnt face. He's really good. And then but DB Sweeney, he's that guy that you watch a movie in the through the 90s, he shows up in it somewhere. He just has even I had already liked him. He played Shoeless Joe Jackson in 8 Men Out, which I was a huge fan of as a kid. So that was my big movie. But do you go back and watch any late late 80s through the 90s movie, he shows up somewhere, and he's just consistent actor. And then of course Nicole Williamson did all the like British like Shakespeare movies and Hamlet, and Excalibur was the one I know him from. I think he played Merlin.
He did.
Horror fans know him in Exorcist 3. I forget his name. He played a priest in that. And then Teresa Randall, who did things to me as a 15-year-old, as a beautiful woman. And she was in the Bad Boys movies, which I was a big fan of as a kid. She was great in there. And then so like, but from like 90 to 93, she was in King of New York. I don't know if the Abel Ferrara movie, really good. Great movie. She was in Jungle Fever, Malcolm X, and CB4. Those are like that run of movies is really good. She's a great actress. I wish I'd seen her in more things lately. But I mean, Leguizamo in this movie steals every scene he's in. He's hilarious. I want to know, and I hope the collector's thing that shows this, how much of this was improvised. Like I guarantee most of it has to be him, which is basically the Pest role, but in a villainous role. The Pest was more. His role in the Pest was like having fun, clueless idiot, and this is the same role, but he's a villain who has a clear cut thing he's trying to do for hell. And if you look at it like that, it's I don't know, man. His line delivery. Yes, there's fart jokes.
That was a wet one.
I love the Jimmy Stewart ones. Like every time someone farts, a demon gets his wings or something, and he farts twice. It's twins. But like he has so many lines in this movie that are chuckle. But it's not. I've already mentioned his physical acting in the movie is amazing. And people don't talk about Leguizamo that much, to me at least, that I've seen. But I think he's got an incredible amount of range. Like just from like 93 to 99, he did Super Mario Brothers, which you've had on the show.
I have not yet.
I thought
the plan was to do it at a certain point because I was going to do like a whole video game slate of movies. I just haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, that's a great idea too. Awesome. Looking forward to that. Awesome. But he did, Carlito's Way, Tu Wong Fu. He's hilarious in. He's a Shakespeare guy. He played Tybalt in Romeo and Juliet. He's amazing in that. Of course, The Pest, this one, and then Summer of Sam. Like he did all that from 93 to 99, and he's gone on to more roles lately where he's a father figure or more sympathetic roles. He's done it all, and he started out as I first saw him as a stand-up comedian before Super Mario Brothers and all this, but he's done everything. He's in the Stone Cold criminal, but a good guy in the John Wick movies as the mechanic. Yeah, so he's. I don't think enough people talk about his acting career. I think he's done pretty much everything.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He steals the show in this movie. I think he's not like leading man who you think of leading man, but he's very versatile. I think. I think he's like just on that cusp of where a lot of people considered Rockwell, but I think he can be a leading man. Sam Rockwell is I think Leguizamo is just below him. Like I want to give props to Leguizamo because without him in this movie, I don't see it being as memorable, especially to me as a kid.
Yeah, it's such an interesting character choice given the circumstances of the movie because so many of the concepts are so heavy, that to have like a demon, but also this guy who's a prankster, and he's the guy who's, like you said, he's the pest, and he's just constantly annoying you, but he's like the annoying best friend, but also the primary villain, and he is super creepy looking as well, and he ate worms for this movie and then puked them up. So like he was very, very committed. And watching it this time, I always remembered his performance as sort of being the catalyst for what makes the movie entertaining, and I still think that's true. I just was a little bit more sort of aware of the dichotomy between like what he's doing as an actor versus like what everybody else is doing. Because without the makeup and everything, it is sort of just like completely out of context for the nature, the subject matter that we're dealing with in the film.
Right.
But he is a very, very good actor. So I'm glad that, like, if nothing else, people do remember this movie for his performance. And he's been good in a lot of other stuff that I've seen. He's like, sort of character actor level. He had his moment where he was a leading man in a couple of like smaller things, but didn't like break through ever to that sort of top tier level of leading man. But I mean, in terms of his career performances, I think if you were to do like a John Leguizamo retrospective, I think there's no way you wouldn't include Spawn.
I think you begin with Spawn.
Yes, begin and end with Spawn. That's fine with me.
Yeah, I don't like, he definitely takes the movie like, to make it make it fun and comedic. Whereas, like, of course, I don't know how much of that like McFarlane hated and didn't want. But if they, of course, make that movie now, which they're still trying to make, get it back. I know I watched the interview with him today, and they're trying. He's been trying ever since to get it done again. But an R-rated, I know, unfortunately, Blumhouse is attached to it, but it's supposed. And that's the comment you remember it being. It's darker tone, and that's how everybody wants now. But I think you got to be careful with that. But there's a fine line. I don't know. I don't know what the general consensus of the Venom movies are. I haven't seen them, but I know a lot of people told me it was more comedic than they thought it was going to be.
For sure.
And some people liked it, some people didn't. So I think it's like a movie. The Venom movies, to me, the way I hear people talk about them is they're not going to be remembered. Like it's like this, like Spawn.
That's fair, and I think I liked the Venom movies, but most of what I liked about them was the fact that Tom Hardy's very good, and sort of him playing against like an invisible character is entertaining to watch. And he's the redeeming quality of those movies. But honestly, like, the three of them do kind of just like blend together into one sort
There's three of them?
There are three, yes.
I thought there was only two.
Yeah. So the second one was worse than the first, and then the third one was maybe definitely better than two, maybe the best of the franchise, but also it started to lean into the idea of like, this isn't a comedic anti-hero, which is a weird thing to do because you've never really given Venom a comedy twist in the comics. At least nothing that I ever read sort of framed Venom that way. Even when he was the hero, it wasn't like, that's Spider-Man's thing, is sort of being funny. Right. So I understand why they did it, because basically every comic book movie had to, have a certain sense of humor to it in order to market it. So I'm like, I get that, but like a rated R Venom property would have been interesting, where they didn't need to do those things, but they were never going to be able to get that greenlit. So I hope that if this Spawn project that has been stuck since like 2018, look, Mike is going to come back. He's like, I'll do it. And I think the script is already written. Todd's already attached. Blumhouse is already attached. So a lot of I think the cast is already mostly settled. So it's not like this thing is that far off, but the hesitancy to commit to like the idea behind the story is weird. Like, just do it. It's okay.
Just
make it rated R. Yeah. Like,
make
Deadpool was super successful as rated R. So just make it good and people will see it. Even kids will see it.
That's the point. That's the point. Just make it good. Lean into what you're trying to do. What you, as the artist, let McFarlane, it's his thing. Lean into it being dark, rated R, and just make it good. And don't feel like you have to do this or you have to do that to make it sell. Don't worry about that. Just go make it. Like, get people who are in love with the franchise, in love with the comics, and know what, basically like the whole thing that's going on with The Witcher now. How what's his name that played Geralt?
Henry Cavill.
Like, he shows how much love he had for that franchise, and like, just how he could spit off the lore from the games and the books, like out of it, and it showed on screen. He was Geralt. Like, and there's no offense to what's his name? I forget, the guy who took his place.
I stopped watching when Cavill left.
It hasn't started up yet, but they just released a trailer for it. One of the brothers, Thor's brother.
Oh, is it Liam Hemsworth?
One of the Hemsworths.
Yeah, I could see him in that role.
And
Actually.
he's probably going to be perfectly fine. But Cavill, man, he put so much into that, and like his knowledge of the material and his love for the material, like really shone through. So he is Geralt. So I feel bad for Hemsworth, but that's the kind of people you want on this project. This isn't Spider-Man or Superman, which I mean, everyone knows Spider-Man, Superman. It's going to be hard to find someone who says it didn't mean a lot to them, and anybody can make those movies and then probably make them entertaining. But something like Spawn, it's so niche that it really, if you get people in there who love the project, and we talked about it, probably every movie we talk about that I come on here is when the people who are making it are in love with the material and put everything they have into it, it comes out that it's good. Who knew? So that's my only hope for it. Same thing with Blade. I was a big Blade fan. Just do it, man. Just don't think about it too much. Just get out there and attach people to it that love the material and get it made.
Yeah, I don't know what the holdup with Blade is. It's like, it's fucking vampires and a dude with a sword. Like, what is going on?
Thinking too hard, man.
Yeah, just chop up some vampires, bro. Like, that's all we want.
Yeah, I don't get, like, go back. There's Blade movie. The first. There's more than two, right?
Yeah, even the third one is like, it's bad, but it's better than Spawn.
That's the one with Bill and
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, okay. I sometimes get that movie confused with the Resident Evil movie. I don't know why. But
it's fair.
That's right. There's three. I have seen. I just don't remember much. But the first two, because Blade movies are awesome. Like,
yeah,
get it done. Get it done, man.
Just get it done. Whatever you got to do. Give the man a sword and let him chop up some vampires. You know, I was talking to Seth about this. I forgot if it was on the show or maybe Film Club, but he was like, here, this is my pitch for Blade. It's Blade meets The Raid. And that's it. Yeah. Just Blade chopping up like an entire building full of vampires. Like, he's got to fight his way to the top. Like, that's it.
That's simple. Like, so simple.
Yeah, it'd be great.
You just attach people that are like, who would you have as Blade?
I mean, I'm fine with Michael Jai White doing it. Like, if Mahershala is going to do it, fine. I love Mahershala Ali, but just get the goddamn movie done.
They're both, Mahershala. Like, I would love to see him do something like this. I didn't see it, the Jurassic Park or World movie, but I'm glad he's in it. I'm sure he got a big payday for it, and I'm happy for him. But I love Mahershala. And his smaller roles are just where it's framed around him, and he's the star. And I can't just, dude. I think he could do anything if he's given the chance to do it. But Michael Jai White as Blade, that's like a no-brainer.
Yep. I mean, at this point, we got a Jamie Foxx direct to Netflix vampire hunter movie that also had, I think Snoop Dogg was in it.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Which isn't even that bad. I'm like, look, it's that easy. It's that easy.
I forgot about that movie. Was that a COVID movie?
Yes, I think so.
Oh, wow.
Day Shift, I think it was called.
That sounds right. I didn't watch it, but I heard everyone says that it was surprisingly entertaining.
Solid,
it was a fun time. So, and I just forgot about it. I'm not the biggest Jamie Foxx fan. I think he's hit or miss, but I could see him as Spawn. He'd be fine. Yeah, but I know he's attached to it, so I don't see a problem. Because I think he's the same way. I think when he gets a role that he really can chew into and he really loves the role, he goes for it and he is good. But sometimes I've seen Jamie Foxx kind of meld into, and it's not good. So I know no problem with him, but it shouldn't be this hard to get this made.
Yeah, if Netflix can make like a straight to streaming COVID vampire hunting movie, you can make Blade. I promise you. Marvel, Kevin Feige, whoever is involved in getting this project done, like, it should be done. We don't care about the script. Blade does not even have to say a word the whole movie. As long as we see that smile and the sunglasses and he chops up some vampires, that is all I care about.
Some
Wesley
cool
Snipes,
industrial music.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes barely spoke throughout the 3 movies. We don't need that. We don't even want it.
No, there you go. That's perfect example. That's another. The music makes those Blade movies. And same thing with this movie. Trying the industrial dark rock music. And I've mentioned about the soundtrack. I looked so forward to the soundtrack because, like I said, some movies were late 90s movies had some really good soundtrack movies like Varsity Blues, Godzilla had a great soundtrack. Half Baked had a great soundtrack with a lot of bands that I like. And so I knew Marilyn Manson was going to be on this one. And I liked his first 2 albums. I haven't listened to them since, but so I was excited for his song on here, and he fits his music's perfect for this movie. And actually that scene where his song plays, Hard Road Out of Hell, is great. It's as Jai White has just come back from hell, and he's walking into the streets, like the slums way. It's awesome scene. Silverchair was the reason I started playing music, picked up a guitar. So this was after their platinum selling Frog Stomp. They were 15 when that album came out, so it was like that just hit me in a whole nother way. I was very disappointed with their song on this album. It was too much techno involved, but they later remade the song, and it's just a rock song, and released it on one of their albums, and it's called Spawn Again, and it's a great song. I love that song. They also had an amazing song on my favorite Jim Carrey movie, The Cable Guy.
Oh,
that great right. the scene where they're in the medieval times. And start throwing in his eyes like, I'm blind. That's Silverchair. Another amazing song. But I did buy this CD, and it's got some good stuff. Like there's some bands on there that fit the like Filter. Every band was teaming up with like a electronic kind of like Moby teamed up with somebody, or like Daft Punk or something. I can't remember everybody. I didn't look at it again. I know Filter had a good song on it. The Marilyn Manson song was good. I don't think Nine Inch Nails had a song on it, but there was, I think Incubus, before they became like big, Incubus had a song on it. So I think it was before their Science album. So I was really looking. I remember the album came out the Tuesday that the movie was coming out on Friday. So it was like a big week right before school went. The summer was over, and I was just like this is going to be amazing. I got so much to talk about when I go back to school. This is like that. Those last few weeks before school starts, I didn't have a job yet. I was only 15. At this time, I was playing baseball all year round, but there's no baseball going on like a week or two before school starts. So I was doing nothing, basically just getting all my school clothes and stuff ready for the school year. And so this is all we were looking forward to. So it was good times, good memories. And it's like that last summer before you get a job and you get your license and you enter the workforce, and you're like, man, becoming an adult sucks.
The summer of '97. It's crazy to think that the model of like having a soundtrack and having that be like a supplemental force for a movie. Like it was so common with movies, especially during the '90s. It was like just part of the deal. Like how Batman did it, right? Like so many different movies had like that key song that helped sell the movie, and then you get residuals on the album sale. So it's like you're getting artists to come on and make original songs for these films, and it's like this big like marketing machine that just kind of like isn't there anymore. So even now when I'm like finding soundtracks, because like when I would do my sort of like year-end awards, which I'm still behind on from last year, but one of the categories was like best soundtrack, and so like picking the best soundtrack always like it came down to like this soundtrack is good, but it's all needle drops. Like it doesn't feel authentic in the same way. Like it's all songs that they paid a lot of money for, so that that it's that song. And I'm like, that's kind of like meh. And so the one that I probably really liked the most last year was from Dandelion, because it was all original music, and it's a movie about a struggling singer songwriter, and she goes and she goes like to like a music festival because she's like trying to make it, and she meets a guy who is, I want to say Scottish or British, and they start making music together, and it like changes like her relationship to music. And so a lot of the songs on that soundtrack are actually pretty good because it combines, like it adheres to the story that they're telling, and you get actual vocal performances from the lead and like both of them singing the song. So it's like it's a real soundtrack put together by the film.
Those are, I wish more people would make movies like that, because like John Carney films, if you're Sing Street, Once, his last one, I forget the name of it. It was pretty good. It was
the one that was on Apple TV.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt in it, where he writes. Yes, Apple TV. What was the name of that movie? It was good. I don't forget the name of it. It was like a female name was the name of the movie, but it was good. I've liked all it. Sing Street is a phenomenal movie. Like I love that movie very, very much. And the John Carney, who wrote and directed the film, writes the songs with the actors. Once was an incredible movie with actual forget the main guy's the actor. He was a musician his whole life, so he's a musician before he's an actor, but he acts in this movie and Once, and but same thing. Yeah, those are kind of like the last soundtracks that I can think of that have songs like that in it, and aren't just like you said, needle drops of specific songs. But like, I don't know, have you seen Sing Street?
I have not.
2016.
Mm-mm.
The actor Jack Rayner, he's in it as like the older brother. But yeah, Sing Street's incredible. The soundtrack's incredible. The music they wrote, the actors played the songs, and actually the lead actor has like the weirdest name, like Ferdio Walsh Pilo is the actor's name. They actually created a band, and the band actually went around playing songs on like the morning shows and things like that. It's an very Irish movie. Great movie, great soundtrack. But yeah, I cannot think of the last movie that had something like this, where artists, a bunch of different artists made I think thematically songs that fit a movie, and they just, or even not so, they just put a bunch of songs on a record as the movie releases. Like I said, the late 90s was the last time I really remember that happening. Maybe some of the horror movies from the early 2000s did it. I can't
it definitely bled over into
Godzilla
2000s a little bit.
Good.
Yeah.
I would think so. Like horror movies did.
Since we're talking about music and lyrics and stuff like that, you want to get a little lyrical into the synopsis haiku?
Oh yeah, favorite part. I think you went first last time.
Did I? Okay.
I think so. Excuse me. Need some water.
Well, then you're on deck.
All right, here we go. So my synopsis haiku for Spawn is: to lead Hell's army, our hero burned to a crisp, evil farting clown.
I like that. I think it keeps the spirit of Leguizamo's character intact.
It sounds dark as it starts, and then you talk about a farting clown.
Okay. I went a little bit more like darker in tone. I went, hellfire burns the soul, soldier's misfortune in blood, shall he be redeemed? So a little bit more like serious, more serious than the movie probably actually is.
That's one that gets like, oh, that sounds awesome. We should go see that movie.
Yeah, right. I know. I feel like, if you're going to remake it and you're going to have Blumhouse attached, like just stick to the horror elements of it. Mm-hmm. Maybe strip out the machine guns, less machine guns and more horror. And make sure that you spend your CGI on like making sure the suit can do some cool stuff. And then we don't even need to go to hell. Don't worry about that.
Sure. Yeah. That'll do it. There you go. Write it, Nick.
All right. Well, I think Todd McFarlane would probably have some issues with that, but do a stunt script for Spawn. Okay. Well, we've talked a lot about this movie so far, but before we get into the trailer, I want you to hazard a guess as to why you think this movie is widely considered to be a bad movie, other than the fact that it is.
Nice clean up there at the end. Yeah, it's the CGI is bad. It's bad. It's seen, the movie itself does seem hastily made, and it got thrown together really quickly. I think the fact that it is full of one-liners, so like on that aspect, it isn't trying to be more than it is. But it's taken really dark material and throwing fart jokes on it. So it's a mishmash of things that for a person that either going in to expect it, or someone who's doesn't watch those kind of movies, which are most critics, I think, it's not, they're not going to like it, and they're going to write it really bad. And I have no defense for the CGI. You can't. But it's like I said, if you go in, if you say, I know the CGI is bad, this is at a time when 90% of CGI in movies was bad. Find its other charms, because it does have other charms that you're gonna have a good time. Like this could be also just thrown on as a drunk buddies night movie, where you're just sitting around drinking or getting high, watching funny one-liners from John Leguizamo. It could be that too if you wanted to, but it's quick. Hour and a half movie that just goes from scene to scene, and you're in, you're out, see some cool action, and bring back, if you have nostalgia for the early to late 90s, it's there.
Yeah, we'll say that it lacks tonal congruity, and we'll be very kind. We're about to go to the trailer, but this little, what is it, a comment on the YouTube trailer says this movie was revolutionary. Before Blade, before The Dark Knight, before Black Panther, for me, he's still the coolest looking and interesting superhero. He deserves a better movie. So I agree with that, and I think we can all hope that he's actually going to get that better superhero movie. But let's take a look at this trailer from 1997 and see, what they were trying to sell us this movie as. Before we get to the trailer, it's time for a quick word from today's sponsor. Back from hell and feeling a little crispy? Or maybe you just feel like you're living through hell on earth. Either way, the least thing you can do is treat yourself to some otherworldly skincare, because skin is the biggest organ in the human body. That's why the makers of Spawn teamed up with the best anti-aging scientists in the industry to create Necroflesh, the only skin repair ointment forged in the fires of the underworld and strictly tested in the laboratory. Whether you're looking to revitalize some dark spots, tackle some wrinkles, heal some burn scars, or even fancify your wardrobe with a cape and mask, Necroflesh can do it all. All you have to do is want it bad enough. So when you want to look your best, choose Necroflesh. Yeah, the name could have used some workshopping, but the results are undeniable. Results may vary based on your willpower and religious ideology. Side effects may include demonic possession, unwanted transformation, annoying clowns, 5-year time lapses, your best friend sleeping with your wife, and eternal damnation, so be sure to read the fine print because contracts with Malboja usually don't end well. Consult your dermatologist today to see if Necroflesh is right for you. And now, back to the show.
All right.
This fucking guy. Not Spawn.
Merlin.
Imagine a substance
Awesome
with the
90s
power
tech.
to destroy humanity. Imagine a creature insane enough to use it.
How's that green?
Imagine a hero. On the
Don't want to show
verge
you
of
all our
creation.
cards.
From flesh to steel.
Cool.
You must visualize
That's awesome.
from blood.
I feel like the CGI is not that bad for that, or
Oh,
that.
see, that's
A lot more to
awesome.
learn.
From man to spawn.
Peekaboo. I see you.
We have harvested the ultimate weapon. Makes the Ebola virus look like a skin rash.
Yes.
I say destroy the cosmos, ask questions later.
Who are you?
This is just
I read that Williamson refused to grow a beard and also refused to wear a fake beard for this.
Yep. Little Arnold reference.
Oh, they took really bad.
Use your armor!
Now stay
Oh boy,
sharp.
yeah.
The night is
They're like,
young.
let's not show
quick.
too much of that.
this summer. has a new enemy. Justice has a new weapon. And the world has a new hero.
I think that's probably the best like shot of the cape in the film is him descending into that party.
It's a great trailer to not give away the bad scene, the hellscape, but maybe like a split second.
Yeah, it's also surprisingly like focused on the virus part of things, where like I get it, but this is a movie about like the devil and demons basically on Earth, and you're like, he's super Ebola virus. It's like that might not be that important right now.
So that you bring that up, I didn't even thought about it until now. The whole bad thing that could happen is demons they're trying to get someone to lead the army against heaven.
That's what I thought.
What does a virus on Earth have to do with that?
I don't know.
Did I miss that?
Yeah, that's I couldn't tell you, because my understanding of it is that somehow when they kill all these people, those people are somehow going to just like automatically join the devil's army. But then when we finally make it to hell, there's like already a bunch of hell spawns down there. Yeah. So yeah, I just don't understand why they needed to involve Wynn beyond setting up Simmons, because that's what they really wanted was Simmons. So I feel like there's like a piece missing from the story that shouldn't involve like crime, I guess. Like crime just seems unimportant when heaven and hell are like about to go to war over the earth. So this guy who's like, "Ooh, I'm gonna get rich," and he's like, "Oh, I couldn't trust this short, weird ass clown that I cut a deal with." Like, of course not. You
make it sound like that's a bad thing.
Yeah. How did you get to be the head of the CIA or whatever, or Division 6 or whatever they're called?
That seemed kind of forced in there to the story. It's a superhero movie or comic book movie. We have to have that rich guy who wants to run the world or whatever. So
you already have a bad enough villain in the devil. Where I think it's partially probably because that Al is a mercenary. So in order to like make him seem less bad, his boss has to be really bad and the one pulling the strings. But then he's got like the redhead with the shiny bright eyes and the boobs on display as like this is his right hand hit woman. So we need like another version of Al, but who's like actually evil, and he's really a good guy. He's just like he kills people for money, like he's cool though. He's a dad. But it's like he was like he wanted to fight his way back to Earth for Teresa Randall. So it's like I understand.
I did definitely understand. Yeah,
he's like I will literally come back from hell for this.
Yeah, right on, brother.
And while I've been gone for 5 years, my best friend has married her and had a child.
A Tom Green lookalike friend.
Yeah, this motherfucker.
I like the introduce. From what I read, is Priest wasn't in the comics to begin with, but this movie they put her in. But before I watched this movie again, I kind of would think about scenes of like there was this short redhead. She had red hair, she had her boobs out basically, in this tight. What am I thinking of that, or am I thinking of Jason X? I used to get scenes the android on Jason X. It's kind of the same character, but her death scene has my favorite line of the whole movie. When after the scene when they're bringing her body out, a couple paramedics, and then you hear a doctor off screen say, "All right, what do we got here, fellows?" And the paramedics were like, "Gunshot wound to the head, doc." And he looks at her and he's like, she's dead. And like just walks off. Like that's the whole so the line itself isn't so great, but it's that dude's delivery of that line cracked me up on this rewatch. And I was like, it's like, nah, she's dead. or just like nonchalantly, oh, she's dead. And just walks off the screen. It's like out of all the lines in that movie, that one cracked me up the hardest.
Well, Melinda Clarke, also has one of my favorite weird what the fuck scenes in this movie, in that when they set up Al in the beginning and he finds the bombs and he's like, what the hell's going on here? And then Wynn shows up, and then Jessica Priest's character shoots him from it's not a balcony, but it's like an industrial railing. So she's upstairs and she shoots him. and then she just jumps off the she just jumps off. And like the way she falls too is like so weird. I'm like, why did they do that?
That was not necessary.
It was not. And she's wearing like also like what race car drivers wear to like prevent them from getting burned. Yeah. So she still has that on. So it's like, it's just a weird look and a weird moment, but she's clearly attached to strings when she's jumping off like a 10-foot platform onto the ground and just like sticking the landing. I think it's meant to make it look like she's a badass, right? That she'll just, I don't need to take the stairs, but like it's awkward and out of place. And then I couldn't help but notice.
Line after that. Like,
what did he say to her?
His ass too.
Oh, that, yeah. Because she's going to be his new assistant, or she's like, I got a promotion.
That's what she says. Like a promotion.
That's right. You're second in line to Ebola virus guy. And I don't know what that does for you when the devil shows up, but I hope that it works out. You know, you get money. Oh, what are you going to do with money when you're in hell? Like it's one of those things, but
that's a great line in the trailer when he says, I say, what does he say? Destroy the cosmos now, ask questions later.
Yeah.
That's a great line.
So I think from that character, it makes sense because he's like, yeah, I don't really care. I'm an agent of chaos and like I'm already kind of an undead being. So yeah, whatever. Like, let's just cause some havoc. But yeah, for the humans to do that, I feel like you're in a position where you're the head of this like spec ops military group. I imagine, like, based on the way you dress and the way you carry yourself, that, like, your job is probably solid. You get paid well to do a job that, like, yes, you're evil, but you like it. There's not really a need to cut a deal with the clown, let alone be like, let's do surgery on me and put the thing in my heart because this is clocking.
Yeah, and they went so far, like, he had some kind of contraption on his arm. I don't know if they, like, needed the graft skin from, because underneath the contraption there's like graft bandages. If you get skin taken off, it looks like white mesh they put over your skin to protect it after you get it grafted. He had that on his arm while they were doing it, and then it was still there when they get back to Teresa and Terry's house. When he's there, he still has that thing on his arm. I'm like, what did they do to his arm? Like, why
did he get burned when he lit Al on fire 5 years earlier?
Yeah, so I don't know. That was weird. But yeah, he says he's gonna put a contraption on his heart so his heart fails. The clown is telling him this, that in case your heart fails, we don't want, we want something to fall back on. He's like, good thinking. Like,
good thinking. I'm like, this guy's a moron. If you took every character in this movie and lined them up in like a police lineup and you asked 100 people, which person do you trust the least? Like 95 of them are going to say Leguizamo's clown. You'll probably get like 5 that are like Spawn is maybe the least trustworthy looking. Yeah. And he's like, he's wearing tattered rags and stuff. So like, you might not trust him, but like, definitely the clown. Nobody is going to enter into business with this guy.
We did want to mention I forget the actor's name, Miko something or another, but the kid from Kindergarten Cop and Pet Sematary.
Yeah, Miko Hughes.
Hughes. There you go. That was the last. Yeah, it was good. I forgot he was in this.
He was pretty good in it. And then his dad, Michael Papa John. I'm like, hey, some really like familiar faces in there.
Yeah. I was like, hey, boys have a penis, girls have a vagina, kid. I just call him Gage.
Yeah.
From
Pet
Sematary.
Look how you've grown up and now you've got like a backwards basable hat and long hair. Like you're almost a teenager. But it's like you're
good in it.
8 years old or something. He is good in it. I feel like the dynamic with him and Spawn is sort of like the core of what the movie probably should be, because it's about Al's character like trying to redeem his past wrongdoings. And like, even though I'm a killer for hire, like I don't associate with the devil, he's like, I'm not that evil. Like I just kind of like did my job and thought I was kind of doing the good thing. But my boss is evil. So that is like more the core of the movie. So maybe you focus more on that kind of story in the future. But how do you feel about doing a little bit of trivia right now?
Oh man, there's so much to this movie. There's
Time for
There is. The trivia questions were
trivia!
sort of weird and not like super easy to come by. So I kind of just
boy.
made do with whatever I could find in the short term. Because there's a lot of like sort of factoids about the movie, but turning them into trivia questions wasn't super easy. But you know, we'll get the ball rolling and you'll have some opportunity to score some points here. So, question number one. While this is the first major comic book movie with a black actor in the lead, it's not the first superhero film with a black actor in the lead. Do you know the two films before this?
superhero. I know. Like, I remember Meteor Man.
That's right. That's one.
Because I did like that movie. That's another that has a very low rating. I remember enjoying it. Was it the way in? Was it?
Yeah, you're getting close.
Blank Man to be a superhero?
Yeah, there it is.
Was he a superhero?
He was as much of a superhero as like Batman. You know, he just doesn't have any money.
That's all I remember from that movie.
Yeah, I remember that. I covered that movie actually with Scott Cole from Film Club not that long ago.
Right.
It actually probably was quite a while ago, but we did talk about Blank Man on this show, so I am familiar with it. But you started off with two, which is, you know, you're off to a great start.
Yeah, I like Meteor Man. That's one I need to revisit. That has like go look at the cast list on that movie. That has like who's who. Like black comedians and it's a lot of cool names in that movie.
Yeah, I saw it once and I was surprised by how much I liked it because I thought it was supposed to be bad and I was like, okay. So I probably need to revisit that. Maybe I'll do that at one point. Let's go to question number 2. We'll stay in the realm of superheroes. Martin Sheen took this role because he wanted to be in a superhero movie, and he actually went on to act in another superhero film later in a supporting role. Do you know what movie that is?
I do, because I don't watch a lot of superhero movies, but I did watch The Amazing Spider-Man.
There you go. Look at that.
So I knew that, yeah, because we did watch the Garfield Spider-Man movies. Uncle
Ben. That's right. All right, well, we're going to crank up the difficulty a little bit here because I did not have a choice. So John Leguizamo, as he is like transforming into Violator for the first time, he jokes and he says, "I'm not the Vindicator, the Victimizer, the Vaporizer, the Vibrator." And this is in reference to the Flabayak brothers, who are the 5 denizens of hell. Can you name the other 4? And I'll give you a point for each one.
I can there's 4 other ones?
Supposedly.
I thought he named
Yeah, he was sort of like riffing on that, but I think, at least in what I'm reading, it looks like only 2 of those are correct and the other 2 are not. So here, so it looks like,
you're right. Yeah,
looks like Vindicator and Vaporizer are correct.
I know one that he didn't mention because I have read the Vandalizer. So I know that's one he doesn't say.
That's one, yeah.
That's the only one that I can think of.
The other one is Vacillator, which I don't even know what that means.
That's not really, you just made that up.
I'm going to do some vacillating. He's like, here, I'm going to cover your horribly burned body in Vaseline.
I love how he says the vibrator at the end of that.
Not the vibrator. Okay, well, you got 4. So you know, we're going to head over to the bonus wheel because I think I already covered all of my bonus trivia at this point throughout the conversation. So fortunately, we get to skip right over all that, right into the bonus wheel. And there's one that I am for sure going to ask you whether or not it gets spun. So it's a new question. It's a disgusting question. And I feel like you have to answer it because you're the first person to be a guest on the show since I've actually added the question. Okay, so first question off the board. What line of dialogue would you want to have on a t-shirt?
What from the movie would
From
be
this movie? Yeah.
It'd have to be one of the clowns.
Yeah.
I like his Jimmy Stewart impression, but that's like 3 lines, and I don't know. That's not good on it. That's not good on a t-shirt.
You've been violated, girly man.
That's a good one.
It's a contender.
Okay, so I'll say that the one that I want has a word that we're not allowed to say anymore. But I'm just that kind of person. Maybe I could wear it around my friends, because you're supposed to be able to say that word around your friends, according to Michael Scott from Office. What does he say? He says, "How come?" I don't know. I don't remember the line specifically. He says, "How come the God gets all the great followers and we get all the hard R words?"
Yes. Yes, I remember that now. This is very 90s.
That's the scene in the graveyard, and he says that. Like,
yeah, the fake devil worshippers.
Yeah, but it's a funny line. Yeah, the fake devil worshippers. That's when the Silverchair song's playing in the background.
Okay,
that one and that's a good one. A picture of Spawn when he discovers one of his tricks of his suit, and he just says, "Damn."
Yeah, I feel like I need to sort of switch the question to be like a graphic tee with a line of dialogue, because I feel like if I get the clown's face where he's flexing saying "girly man," then I'm like, okay, that's a little bit better.
That's a good one. I'd wear that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, fortunately, the question that I wanted to ask you automatically, I spun it and it popped up. So I don't even have to cheat the system to ask you this question. All right, brace yourself.
Oh boy.
You have to human centipede with 2 characters from this movie, but you have to be the middle. So who do you want in the front and who do you want in the back?
Man, if I could get canceled, if I had the ability to be canceled, I would get canceled after this. In the back would be Violator, because he deserves it. And the front would Teresa Randall.
Look, that's probably your best option. Like, let's just be honest, right?
Well,
I feel like
put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, not every movie is going to have a Teresa Randall option. Right. So you may end up a lot worse than you are in this human centipede mix here. But
I like that question.
Yeah, I was like, I was almost falling asleep when I was just like, this is a great question. And I was like, oh, let me write this down. And I was like, whew, sometimes I have those ideas like right as I'm falling asleep. And I'm like, I'll remember it in the morning. And I never do. So I was like,
sit up real fast.
Yeah, this is going to be freaking disgusting. But I feel like it is an appropriate question for this show. So, okay, we'll move on to something less disgusting. So you're a big music guy. We talked about the soundtrack. So if you could insert a surprise musical number into this film, what scene would you choose?
I'd have to specifically remember what music's playing over each scene. It'd have to be a 9 Inch Nail. So just the scene or the song and the scene?
Yeah, what scene do you want to have turned into a musical?
Into a musical?
Yeah, there's got to be a musical number in this movie.
Definitely with Clown in his cheerleading outfit.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, good. What's a good song so like playing over that while he's doing a dance number? That's a good one. Oh man, that's the one. No matter what I answer, I'm like 5 minutes later, I'm like, I got a better answer. Something from Grease, I think maybe.
Ooh. I got chills, they're multiplying.
John Leguizamo was singing it in his Violator voice.
Yeah.
Slobbering out his mouth.
Yeah, that could be fun. All right, I'll take that. Pull from classic musical history. All right, well, we got one question left on the wheel. We've talked a little bit about some ideas like this. So if you have to pitch a sequel for this movie right now, what is your absurd elevator pitch?
Oh, that's a good one. I'm sure there's been a million for this movie, a long pitch to Todd McFarlane. I love the idea of one location you pitch for Blade. Um, I'm thinking something at a theme park. Something gets let loose at a Disneyland, which couldn't in a movie. They couldn't do that because they'd owe Disney $1 billion. So, like a theme park, which kind of has happened in like with the Nicolas Cage movie, but like a big theme park where it's definitely we're talking crap about Disney, and like something gets let loose there, and it's just Spawn fighting demons and all over the roller coasters and rides.
Yeah, so Spawn's been training for 28 years, so he knows how to use his suit and his cape and all that stuff now. And now, he's doing his thing and he's hunting down other demons that have escaped from hell and sending them back. I like that. You can do it.
Yeah, but for some reason, all the customers are like they're trapped. They can't get out of this theme park. So he's having to keep them being killed too while he's killing the bad guys himself.
There's going to be a lot of collateral damage in that, but
right,
probably be fun to watch. All right, well, let's just head over to more or less then. You tell me one thing that you want more of and one thing that you want less of in this movie.
I'm gonna give you one guess what I would like less of.
Less CGI?
Yeah.
All right, nailed it. Nailed it.
That part's easy. More, I guess more violence. I guess so. Like just more scenes where it's Spawn kicking. He needs more baddies to fight. Add some more demons in there that he's having to fight with, and fighting the Violator some more, because that was some cool scenes where he's fighting. Like we talked about the practical part looking really really good in that. But yeah, more scenes fighting the Violator, like that at the end there when they kill him. I wish that could have went on a little longer, like a bigger fight with Calistro, how you say his name, and Spawn fighting the Violator. More of that in our world, not Hellscape.
Yeah,
fighting in our.
Because once we're in there and it's just like blinded, it kind of looks like paper mache at times.
Yeah,
it's just
this is hard to follow.
Yeah, this is too much. They're flying around, everything's moving. I feel like one of the most interesting things about this portrayal of Spawn is not only is it a black character, he's homeless. Like this is a black homeless guy who is the hero of the story. And I think that's all very intentional, but I feel like that part is just sort of not like utilized super well. And it's like, I don't want him to necessarily just be Batman and handle sort of like street level crime, but I think there should be probably more of that, because especially as he's learning the curve and learning how to like be Spawn and not actually having any demons to fight, most of what he's going to be doing is sort of like sticking up for the underdog in the environment that he's in. And because he doesn't have a house to go to, he doesn't really have a choice. So he's going to be on the street. And so I feel like that element could be explored a lot better. But, you have to commit to probably doing a much longer movie than this in order to like have that element play out. But I feel like that's a lot of what I remember from the cartoon. Granted, I think they were only half an hour episodes, but like I remember him spending a lot of time in alleys. He's always in an alley. Yeah. So. It's like, whatever crime is happening in these alleys, this is my jurisdiction over here.
So basically, if we could have more scenes like Constantine, but because it's Michael Jai White and he's Spawn, he actually fights them cool martial arts and stuff in a Spawn suit. But like that would, or maybe him and Constantine team. Have they ever teamed up in comic books?
No, I mean Constantine's a DC character, but he does have a new movie coming. So I mean, shit. Like, look, if that can succeed, the appetite for hell heroes is back, and we should get Spawn. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's all you need to say.
Was there anything like in particular, like a specific note that you wanted to make sure that we got to talk about before we move on?
No, we hit everything that I wanted to talk about.
We did. We spent like an hour talking before I even got to like most of the structured bullet points that keep us on track. But
yeah, look, man, it's just an hour and a half movie of 90s goodness, man. Just it's worth checking out. You can watch a movie and know it has problems and there's things wrong with it and still get enjoyment out of it. And where you're rooting, not just to where you're watching and making fun of it, but you can do that here too, but you can watch it and there's things that are fun in this movie, man.
Look, in fairness, like the movie is more valleys than it is peaks, but the peaks are good. And I see the potential here that has not been actualized. And I feel like there is a lot of potential here for this to be a significantly better movie. And I feel like the movies that are bad like this are the ones that need to be remade. And, you know, like I said, this is a movie that surprisingly, a lot of people chimed in on this that I didn't expect. And so for the first time in a while, we get to go to the mailbag and hear from some friends of the show.
You've got mail.
First off, we're starting with We Suck at Parties on Twitter. Said, saw it in theaters and my buddy's dad said one of my favorite critiques of all time. That's what Batman wanted to be, which ended up hewing closer to the truth than anyone could have imagined when considering the seriousness of the comic book era of Hollywood. And I was like, that oddly makes some sense given the gothic tone of the story, the fact that Tim Burton was originally like envisioned to be the one who directed it. I would have been very curious to see like if Burton had his hands on this, what we end up getting.
That's so true. I'm sure most people feel that same way. Like, if only Tim Burton. Like, who directed The Crow?
That's a good question. I don't know off the top of my head.
I don't either. Like I think The Crow, like Spawn. Whoever made The Crow made Spawn. And it was
Alex. It was Alex Proyas, which is why they approached him, and then he was like, "No, I'm going to do Dark City instead."
Okay, that makes complete. Yep, yeah. Dark City's awesome too. I think if they made Spawn without the CGI and with less of the one-liners from Leguizamo, it would be a completely different movie. But it wouldn't have gotten the rep that I think it would have been appealed to a lot more people than what this did. Would I have still loved it? I love Spawn. Though no, probably not. But I mean, that's kind of what people are asking for now. But I love The Crow too. So seriousness has its place.
Yeah, The Crow, another movie that did not need to get remade, got remade. People hated
that's
it.
Right. Oh God, it looked so bad. I didn't watch it.
I didn't hate it, but I also was just like, yeah, I can detach it from the original. I like Bill Skarsgård enough where I was like, I'll give it a chance, and he's good in it. But yeah, it's kind of a mess, as expected, right? So
right.
Okay, well, my buddy Keon at Mr. Movies Collects on Instagram, Mr. Collects Movies, I should say. He said, yes, this movie is so flawed, yet so fun. The CGI is so awful. Laughed my ass off.
Hey, that's
right. CGI
right
is horrendous, but it's fun. Exactly what we communicated. And my buddy Erickson, who's been on the show before, so is Keon. Erickson said John Leguizamo steals this show, and he does, and that's Rogues Only on Instagram.
Nice.
My buddy, I'm assuming this is my buddy Dan from Two Asian Blokes, because I don't think Tavi has anything to do with the social media presence. If it is you, Tavi, I'm sorry, but the way it's worded feels very much like Dan. And he said, I think this was the first movie that made me realize that movies could be bad. LOL.
That's fair.
It's fair. Yeah, that one gave me a good chuckle because I'm like, yeah, it is bad, but ouch. And then Ryan, the real Ryan Ritter on Instagram, says, I can't get over the 90s screensaver quality of the special effects.
Perfectly.
And that it's true. It's true. Like there's no way around it. It just feels like they didn't need to do that. I would have. Like reading what they had planned for Hell actually seems more interesting to me. Just sort of like an eternal darkness, and like filming in that environment. I was like, this actually seems like, you're being budget conscious, but you're working within the confines of what you have and trying to be imaginative. And then when you had the money to make Hell, just like, okay, well, just throw it together, right? Just make it fiery. And then that's what we got. I'm like, there's a ton of rocks. Why are there so many rocks? Going bouldering with Malbolgia.
I don't ever hear anyone talk about this movie. So it's awesome that you've got so many people to respond to it. Now, we talked earlier before we started recording about my two gaming buddies that I game with. One of them is not a movie guy at all, but he loves this movie. He loves like trashy 90s, like or not even trashy. The movies that were like the old Ninja Turtle movies, Masters of the Universe. This movie, he loves those movies. No, unapologetic. He doesn't have that bone of like, yeah, it's bad, it's terrible, but I still love doing it. He's like, no, I love it all.
That's fine. It's great to hear.
He's the only other person that I can talk about this movie with, or have talked about, or that gets the references when I say something like D-E-D.
Be like, yo, I just did a 2-hour podcast on Spawn. But remember, there was like, it was TBS or TNT or FX that had movies for guys who like movies.
Yeah,
there needs to be movies for people that don't like movies. is one of those movies and be like, yeah, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, those are some of the more fun people to talk to movies about a lot of times, because they'll throw one on you that like, wait, that's a nothing movie. I thought about that movie once in my life and then never again. And then they'll come up with reasons why they love it or why it means a lot to them, or just have fun with it. And you're like, you know what? I'm gonna watch it again. I get it.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I think the average human being goes to like maybe somewhere between like a dozen and 35 movies in a year. That's how many movies they watch in a year. So like if that's it, then you see Spawn and you're like, yeah, that's great, because I didn't see anything else this year. Spawn rocks. But yeah, I think like the more you see, the more you begin to sort of like cultivate your taste around these kind of things. So I think, yeah, movies for guys who like movies, Spawn probably in that category. But I'm glad your friend really loves it. We're gonna hear from the critics, because it's time to go over to Critics Corner and hear why they did not love it. So we have a 34 Metascore overall on the board. Lowest score on the board, though, is a 0 from Salon. Wow. So we start with the 0, and this is unattributed to any writer in particular. It says the special effects look model shop cheesy, as if they've been created using a handful of action figures and Mac paint, and the rest of the picture has the flat visual finish and phoned-in performances of a TV movie. That's disrespectful to John Leguizamo.
Dude, he had me when they were saying about the CGI, because you can't argue that. But I don't think even the great Martin Sheen was on his game. Like, he didn't phone it in. Like, he played a comic book villain to a T. And I don't agree with that at all. A 0 means you got nothing out of. It means you didn't laugh at his fart joke.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Everyone laughs at fart jokes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the performances were not the thing that was holding this movie back, for sure. Right. But we'll climb the board a little bit. I'm going to skip over the 10 and the 20, because we got 2 25s, one from the San Francisco Chronicle, the other one from the San Francisco Examiner. So this movie is not welcome in San Francisco. Which one do you want to go with?
The last one.
Examiners. This is Walter Adego. Says otherwise, the movie, which borrows from a dozen pop sources and improves on none of them, is pretty much a washout. I'm curious what those dozen pop sources are. I would generally like to know, because I mean, sure, there's gothic imagery. Like, you could maybe say Batman. Like, you could probably point to a lot of action movies of the time. Like, maybe, there's a motorcycle and machine guns. Okay, John Woo. What are the other 10?
My thing is, it's based off a comic book that came out 5 years earlier, and looks and feels like the comic book that came out 5 years. So it's drawing like it doesn't. To me, it doesn't seem like they took this name of a character from this comic book and put him in this totally different world. Like, that's the way they make it sound. It's like it has its own material to influence it too. So okay,
Yeah, it probably spends too much of its time fucking around with its own like mythology building.
right.
You know, like you got to pick one or the other. We can't have a weird Ebola virus going around and that be the story, and then also the devil.
Right.
Okay, well, we'll leave the 25s behind. We've got two 50s on the board. I'm going to leapfrog the 40 from Mark Savlov. We've got two 50s, and this is from Real Views or the Christian Science Monitor.
Real Views.
This is James Berardinelli. It says, unfortunately, where the movie falls apart is in its storyline. While Spawn fans may be delighted by this effort, the uninitiated may have a hard time getting beyond the fancy special effects and often incoherent plot. Didn't hate the special effects.
Oh my God, they called them fancy.
Wow, I mean,
Fancy
they were
means
kind of
good.
for 1997. They were pretty fancy. So he's like, no, special effects good, everything else bad.
I think the heart of the story of a man coming back from hell, selling his soul so he can be with his wife is a beautiful story. There's so many places you can go with it. So I don't think it's the things you mentioned about having Ebola virus and the devil at the same time is wild.
Yeah, the story and the plot are different.
Yeah, so I think the heart of it is perfectly is fine, and I think that's what Michael Jai White is always referring to when he talks about how he wanted that role.
Yeah. Well, that review is from Bizarro World, because if we found the one person that was like, hey, these special effects ain't bad, it's James Berardinelli from Real Views. He's been on here before. We'll go up to another familiar name. This is 67 from Entertainment Weekly. It's Owen Gleiberman. Gleebs says Spawn doesn't make a lot of sense, but the imagery whooshes by in glitzy psychedelic torrents. I feel like he did acid and then went to Spawn and was like, oh, baby. Story doesn't make a lot of sense, but this thing is whooshing.
I was just like going through these wormholes in the hell. It's like, I'm freaking out, man.
Maybe that's the way to do it. Look, he gave it a 67, second highest score on the board. Highest score on the board is an 88.
Oh. Wow.
And I don't understand how or why, but like the last string of like 3 or 4 movies, this has been the top reviewer on the board. The top score has been by this person, and it is Roger Ebert.
Wow. Wait, what? No. 88 from the Ebes.
Yeah, that's like a 3.5 on his scale, right? Out of 4.
That's wild. Never saw that coming.
Yeah, he doesn't like horror movies. Every time I'm doing this, I'm like, what is happening with Roger Ebert? Like, did he just all of a sudden like have a weird enlightening? And he's like, I actually just love bad movies. But anyway, from the Chicago Sun-Times, it is Ebes. Says, it walks and talks like a big budget horror film, heavy on special effects and pitched at the teenage audience, and maybe that's how it will be received. But it's more impressive if you ignore the genre and just look at what's on the screen.
Oh, listen to Ebes, man.
I mean, this is like, if he gave it an 88, it's got to be up there with like his favorite movies of 1997. I gotta ask Scott Cole about this.
Yeah, that's the perfect person to ask. Yeah, maybe if you look at it, like, man, he watches all these movies every year. He's watching all this pretentious stuff all the time, and sometimes like, this movie is going for it, man, and he just respected the shit out of it and had fun with it. That's what I'm gonna believe.
Yeah, it's just like every now and then I'll see him be like, "No, Tank Girl was hot garbage," and he hated that movie, and it was like it was like the bottom 5 movies of the year that year. But then he loves Spawn, and I'm like, what? How do you hate one and love the other? I would be fine with you being like mediocre on both, or hating both, or loving both, but like what is the difference in the two things that makes you react one way? So it's like even the most well-renowned critics in the world, have their up days and their down days. But yeah, this is like the 3rd or 4th movie in a row where I get to the top and I'm like, it's Ebert again. I was like, I never thought when I started this show, he was never on here. And if he was always at the bottom. Right. So the fact that we're getting some high scores from Ebert, I think, is a nice way to wrap it up. It's always good to have like the Ebert stamp of approval on a movie before we close it out.
You can throw that in everyone's face. Like,
yeah, look at that. 88 from Roger Ebert.
Ebert gave it an 88, man. Spawn. Spotty.
Okay, well, now it's gateway drug movie time because I got to recommend a movie that is a good starting point for Spawn because he's not the superhero that a Hulk or a Spider-Man or Iron Man or Superman is, right? He doesn't have that name recognition. But for people that are superhero fans and are maybe interested in Spawn, what's a good jumping off point for them?
So something to watch before they watch Spawn. I wanted, if I had seen the Venom movies, I probably would say the Venom movies because they got that sense of humor from the trailers that I've seen in the scenes. They got that sense of humor, but with like a weird, where Venom isn't the normal hero or villain either. I wish I could think. I don't know. I think we talked about Blade. You know, the Blade movies are better movies that have the sensibilities of the Spawn movie, and it's what Spawn could be or could have been, I would say. But I mean, yeah, I'd say Blade since I've seen those, and they've sometimes got the one-liners. Wesley Snipes has great line delivery in those movies. It just makes you want to kick some butt.
Yeah, I mean, I think Blade is a good one to be like if you just kind of like the soundtrack being like part of the character, you're sort of like going with like a lot of dark elements. There is sort of like a good versus evil element in there as well, which with a lot of like the more complex superhero stories, it's like, well, the villain has his reasons, but he's obviously the bad guy. And so there's more like moralistic questions that get raised. It's not like the devil or vampires, right? Stuff that you can very easily identify as evil. I think I tried to think of something else, but I want to say Darkman because when I watched Darkman for the first time, like it is very violent when it wants to be. It has great visual, like practical effects when it wants to, but then like when the movie is unhinged, it's really funny. And I had an absolutely wonderful time watching Darkman. So I think
when's the first time you saw Darkman? Was it when it came out?
Last year, 2 years ago?
That was the first time you saw it?
Yeah, we did it for Film Club, and I was like, okay. I realized I had only seen bits and pieces of the sequels with Arnold Vosloo, so I had never seen the original, but I thought I had seen the original because I was too young. So I was like, I didn't really like what I saw of Darkman. And so then it was like, I watched the original. I was like, this is great.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it as a kid, but I haven't seen it since. I remember we had it recorded on a VHS tape, and I watched it quite a few times. It was on the same. I remember because it was on the same VHS tape as Hudson Hawk.
Oh wow! Another movie that I've covered on this show. Wow.
yeah. So I don't. So that brings back memories, but I haven't seen it since then. So I think about it every now and then. That's a movie that I really liked, and I should watch it again. I just never got around to it. But you saying that it was your first time seeing it and you really liked it, I probably. Really,
the Darkman Hudson Hawk is a fucking crazy doubleheader.
Dude, my stepdad had a humongous TV in the living room. He had like the dual VHS decks. I mean, they weren't together. He wired them together so he could rent movies from Blockbuster and record them onto the and record. We had a satellite with a descrambler on it where you could get any channel, and we had tons of record because you get like 6 movies on a VHS tape, if not more, right?
Yeah, that's true. When you put it on the SLP.
Yeah. I think the standard VHSs were like 8 hours. So you could get like 4, maybe 5 on it. So he would record movies like crazy on those VHS tapes.
Running like a bootlegging factory out of the living room.
But he only record because he recorded them. He was a huge football fan. He recorded like every Clemson game and every Cowboys game.
Wow.
He had like a whole life.
It's a big stack of tapes for sure.
Yeah, it was the 90s. Dallas played a lot of games in the 90s.
They sure did. This has been fun, man. I'm
As
glad that
always.
we got to do this. I know we still have to coordinate and do Wolfman. I still want to do that. I need to figure out a better schedule for myself for that particular show because I did schedule a bunch and then like none of them happened. So I need to be more diligent about the bad movie futures and making sure that they actually
You got a lot on
get
your plate.
recorded.
It's understandable.
Well, yeah, it was like Monday was release day, and then so it was like editing day, release, social media stuff. Tuesday was prepping for an interview. Well, was working, pulling clips, then prepping for an interview on Wednesday, and then Wednesday was editing a different episode, and then preparing like clips, and just it's been like just this cycle of like I'm stuck. So that's why I'm going to take October off officially from releasing new episodes, and I'm going to recalibrate. I'm going to work on getting stuff up on the YouTube channel so that way it's like, hey, there's another level of discoverability, and I'm going to work on like sort of getting my schedule online and use October to record some stuff so that way I know that I am a little bit more ahead of the curve.
Need any help? I help doing any of that stuff. I'm really excited about a show like of this. You know, the thing that you're going with, discovering films that might be middling or lower rated now and recently that might be beloved later on. I'm really excited to start get that show going. There's so many that. Do you already have like lineup of people who want to talk about movies?
I was gonna, so there was one called Azrael, which I was gonna do
a good movie.
Yeah, it is. I was going to do it with Newman. I was like, oh, I'm surprised this one qualifies. So I got that one.
I remember he liked that movie. Yeah.
I was going to do Megalopolis also with what's his name? Paul, the Dune guy on Twitter. Like
Paul, he's a good guy. He's a Dune guy.
Yeah. And Cosmo was going to do Craven with me. So those were like the three that I had lined up, but I just like haven't been able to get them scheduled. So those are that. And then I have to start looking at this year and be like, well, there's a whole bunch this year that are probably going to be on that list as well. So I need to start like keeping a running list and just be like, hey, this is like here's a link to like the Google Shared doc. Like you put your name in there and then we'll schedule it kind of thing versus like just posting, so I'll figure that out. But yeah, we got to get Wolfman scheduled, and October I think is a great time to do it. And it's right around the corner. So we'll get it on the books.
Yeah. We got, I ordered the Spawn Blu-ray. Like I said, we were talking earlier. I waited like a split second too late. That all like Diabolic DVD, all the other US distributors had run out. But you can just go straight to Arrow Video and order a copy of the 4K. So I got it there. I remember I ordered it the same time I ordered Freaked.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Freaked is coming out. Well, that's is that Umbrella? I think they're from Australia.
Is it?
Yeah, Diabolic DVD still had copies of that, so they might still have copies of that. And I ordered the crazy Eureka edition of Martyrs. All of those got taught at the same. Because I was the one who actually have a Blu-ray of Martyrs. It's like a Canadian release, so it's like they didn't have a lot of copies of that back when it came out on Blu-ray a long time ago, and so I've always had it, and it looks fine. It looks great. It looks like an amazing French extreme horror from that time frame. But I'm really excited to get that collector's edition in, because I have, Second Sight did a lot of really good releases of Inside, High Tension, Frontiers, really good. They're amazing, Second Sight. But so Martyrs was always the one that had been missing, and that was the big one that has a really good collector's edition. So there's that, and then I don't know if have you had the old '90s Ninja Turtle movies? Would those be?
No, I did talk to a couple people. I know that Ryan had mentioned wanting to do Turtles in Time. I think Scott Maupin, he's a big Ninja Turtles fan in general, so he was talking about that. So I feel like probably all three of the movies would be safe to cover if I just wanted to do like a Ninja Turtles month and cover all of them.
There's a ton of them. Yeah. I think one of the boutique labels are releasing those original three.
It's the 35th anniversary. They did a re-release in theaters of the original. I didn't get a chance to see it, but it was out like a month ago.
That's good. I've been behind on physical media in general, like music and movies. so many house projects and everything, but we got done with those. So now I'm like trying to catch up, and there's like all those ones I ordered from earlier in the year that are just now getting released. So I'm excited for, but make sure all your listeners keep physical media, keep it going.
Indeed. I know I'm going to do during October. So a little preview for people that are listening to this. During October, when we moved, I condensed my collection, and I found that I have a bunch of duplicates because I got like other people's collections and just sort of absorbed them. So I have like 50 plus movies that are just extras. So during October, I'm going to figure something out, and we're going to do giveaways for people.
Nice.
I'm going to mail you a random DVD probably.
That's awesome. Forward to hearing that.
Cool. Well, it's been a lot of fun, man. I am going to hop into the kitchen, which is 5 feet away from me, and start making dinner. I'll be in touch, and we'll schedule Wolfman soon. All right.
All right. Thanks so much for having me again, man. Good luck to your Bills tonight.
Thank you. All right.
Look forward to talking again, man.
Cool. Take care, bro. A big thanks to Donnie for coming back on the show. It's always a pleasure talking with him. If you had fun with us, I would recommend checking out the older episodes of his show, You, Me, and a Movie, which you can find on your podcast platforms, but I will put the link up in the show notes for it. Before we close the door on Spawn completely, I want to take a moment to recognize its ambition and its importance, because Spawn is one of the movies that is on the poster art for Bad Movies We Love. It's one of the movies that helped inspire this show, and for that reason, I am going to induct Spawn into the Bad Movies We Love Hall of Fame. I believe it's the first in the class of 2025, but I would have to double check. I've got one more lined up for you. We will be talking about Judge Dredd, so stay tuned for that one. And of course, thank you to everyone who took the time to listen to the episode. I know there's a seemingly infinite number of options when it comes to podcasts, and I appreciate you letting me into your ear holes and hopefully into your hearts. In all seriousness, though, time is valuable, and I am very grateful that you've entrusted me with yours. If you enjoy the show, please consider leaving a review or at least a rating and telling a friend about it. If you don't enjoy it, then maybe let's keep that between us. As I mentioned in the open, the new members only section is in fact live at badmovieswelove.captivate.fm/support, where you're going to get access to a bunch of goodies for only $5 a month. And I would absolutely love to hear from you, so if you have a bad movie you love and would like to be a guest on the show, you can contact me at badmovieswelove@theshice.com or badmovieswelove spelled LUV on Twitter and Instagram. And until next time, take care, be well, stay safe, and have fun however you get your movies. I know you're out there somewhere, Rids. I love you.